Guys, what's going on? As you can see, DJ Wheat is no longer right next to me, but that's because he is on the main stage. He is going to be doing an interview with our next two players on the main stage, so let's go ahead and take it over to him. It does look like they are set up, and DJ Wheat, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you, Husky. We'll be broadcasting this matchup here in just a moment. I'm up here with Bomber and TaeJa. A TVT matchup is about ready to take place here in just a moment. And I'm going to start with you, Bomber. Bomber, you've been known to have an aggressive TVT. You're up against TaeJa, who has certainly been showing his talents as well, not only throughout Korea, but on the international circuit. I want to hear what you've done to prepare for this matchup versus Terran, and what you think the results might be.
이제 되게 버물 선수가 태태전에서 되게 공격적이고 되게 잘한다고 되게 다 알고 있는데 뭐 태자 선수도 되게 잘하고 그냥 이 경기대에서 소감이 있는지 어떻게 될 것 같은지.
저도 태태전은 자신 있지만 일단 영서도 되게 태태전 잘하기 때문에 힘들 것 같아요, 굉장히.
I am really good against with TVT, but you know, as you guys know, TaeJa is also really good TVT, so I think it'll actually be a difficult match.
Now, you really rolled through your group. You didn't seem like you had much trouble at all leading up to this point. Obviously, TaeJa is going to be a tough opponent, but who has your toughest opponent been so far here at Red Bull Battlegrounds?
지금까지 어저께 조에서도 되게 잘했고요. 근데 지금까지 제일 어려웠던 상대가 누구였어요, 이 대회에서?
아무래도 MC한테 한 번 져서 MC가 가장 어려웠어요.
I'll have to say MC because I lost one set to him, so.
Okay. Well, good luck in your matchup. And are there any words you'd like to say to TaeJa?
태자 선수한테 하고 싶은 말이 있는지.
일단 좋은 경기 했으면 좋겠어요.
I hope we can have a good game.
All right. Well, I hope so too. Bomber, let me scoot over here and get in line with TaeJa here. TaeJa, first off, congratulations for making it here to the Championship Sunday. You've obviously got a tough opponent against you, and you've got a lot of fans that you built from your success in the Korean Weekly. I want to know, what do you plan to do to hopefully make all your fans happy with potential victory?
일단 여기까지 온 거 되게 축하하고 여기 팬들이 엄청 많다고 먼저 얘기하고 있어요. 이제 되게 어려운 상대를 만났는데 어떻게 해서 이길 건지.
일단은 준비한 대로 해야 될 것 같아요. 그리고 또 상대가 지성이 형인데 좀 잘하는 테란이잖아요. 그래서 방심하지 말고 끝까지 최선을 다할 것 같아요.
Well, I'll definitely have to play exactly as I prepared, and my opponent is Bomber, who's a really, really good Terran. So I'll have to stay focused, not lose my concentration, and I think that's the way I'll have to win it.
Great. You're one of the newest additions to Team Liquid. I'd love to hear just what your experience has been as a part of Team Liquid. Are you enjoying it? Or are you looking forward to more success in the future under Liquid?
최근에 리퀴드 팀 숙소로 들어갔잖아요. 숙소 아니라 팀으로 들어갔잖아요. 그래서 그냥 그거에 대해서 소감이랑 그냥 이 다음에 이제 리퀴드 선수니까 뭐 그냥 얘기하고 싶은 거 있는지.
리퀴드에 들어가서 GSL 코드 S 성적도 내고 해외 대회에서도 좀 좋은 성적을 못 거뒀지만 점점 더 실력도 느는 것 같고 더 좋은 것 같아요. 그래서 앞으로 더 열심히 해서 꼭 좋은 성적 낼 수 있도록 할 거예요.
After joining Liquid, I was able to, get into Code S, show some performances there, and even though I haven't shown great performances in the international tournaments yet, I think I'm doing well, and I'll continue to do well in the future as well for you guys.
Excellent. Well, TaeJa, any words that you have for your opponent, Bomber, before this match begins?
최주성 선수한테 하고 싶은 말이 있는지.
저도 재밌는 경기 했으면 좋겠어요.
I also hope that we can have a fun game.
All right, well, I hope that you have fun games as well. Good luck to both of you, and I hope to see you guys with great success here in the future. We'll be back with more here at the Red Bull Battlegrounds. Coming up next, it's Bomber versus TaeJa. Well, welcome back to day 2 of the Red Bull Battlegrounds. We just saw Violet fall. He was a fan favorite, but Squirtle, the replacement for Puzzle, came in and is showing his dominance here, Husky.
Yeah, man. I mean, I was really excited when I saw Squirtle was going to be a replacement because I just know that he's one of the top-tier players out there. He's going to bring his A game, and it's just going to overall make the tournament that much more competitive. And he's showing, hey, man, that's absolutely right. Now, looking at my screen over here on the left side, we are ready. But first, let's take a look at the brackets updated here. You can see Stefano going 2-0 over Parting. And I didn't get to personally hear the interview, but I was told backstage that that was a slaughter. Stefano was able to just play so well. And also he got double expansion blocked by the pylons, and then his opponent made double Stargate. And Stefano was saying, I don't know why he did that, because he could have beat me with almost everything else because I had no bases. That's what I heard. I didn't get to personally see it. But
well,
anyways,
it ended. We were in game 1, and it was
and the whole series was over by that point.
Yeah,
so yeah, definitely short games there. But let's go ahead and get ready for our next one. The map is going to be Metropolis, and you got to interview both the players. I didn't get to hear them, but for people tuning in, did they sound pretty ready, or are they confident?
Why don't we start the game? I can tell you a little bit about what we heard from both these players. As Husky mentioned, Metropolis is going to be the matchup. And yes, we have Liquid TaeJa taking on ST Bomber in game. You might notice it'll be ST Curious. But yeah, so both players definitely very confident. I would say that Bomber, just knowing, because he's an aggressive Terran, maybe feeling a little bit more confident than TaeJa. TaeJa definitely excited for the matchup, hoping that he can give some good games here to all of the fans that are watching worldwide. But I would definitely give that confidence point over to Bomber. He certainly seems like he is ready to, you know, he's ready to showcase his skills here, Husky.
Yeah, Sean has pointed out, you know, maybe slumping in the past, but this would be a huge victory for him. I mean, just the amount of prize pool for the amount of players in the tournament. I mean, that ratio is pretty darn good, man. $15,000 for that first place prize. But without further ado, let's introduce our two players who have shown really good games this tournament. I know that said a lot about players, but especially TaeJa. He has shown us top-notch unit control. Down in the bottom left side, it is indeed Liquid TaeJa.
And over here in the east side, starting location as the Red Terran, it is Startail Bomber.
And I don't know if you got to see too many TaeJa games yesterday, but his unit control, I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, but like, it's just so mind-blowing to me, because you'd look, as a caster, you're looking at a battle, you're trying to see, okay, is he going to be able to pull, you know, who's going to pull out ahead, who's going to be the victor in this battle while you're watching it happen. And I'm like, okay, TaeJa's definitely out of this battle. He doesn't have enough units. Oh, wait, he already has 3-3 upgrades, and it's like at 15 minutes in the game, and he's doing amazing. And that happened not just once. Like, it wasn't a total fluke thing. It happened in almost every single battle that took place, and it allowed him just to win so many games that I thought he wouldn't be able to.
Well, you know, we've been talking a lot about the Terrans that are separating themselves from the pack. We have the best of the best, and now we're starting to see the better of the best. And these are the guys that have stupidly awesome unit retention.
Right.
For example, another great one is Polt. Lately, his control with his bioarmies is just, it's just unmatched. TaeJa in kind of the same role. So I feel like we're starting to see, especially in TVTs, these breakaway Terrans, because just as you mentioned, Husky, their control is just too damn good.
Oh, indeed. And one thing I do love about Terran is they have so many different units that fill different roles. I believe you guys were casting a game. I didn't get to watch it, but there was a lot of Reapers involved, and it's just great to be seeing that the Terran players be able to start utilizing the units that you don't normally see. So maybe you can, you know, talk about that a little bit more. But I remember I was casting a game and I kept looking over and I'm like, okay, surely that's not the amount of Reapers that I think I'm looking at. Surely this is going to stop at some point, but it never did.
It did not. It was a very interesting game between Illusion and Ganji, where Illusion opened up with 3 Reaper and Nitro packs. And then he added a few Marines and some Hellions. And he just caught, I mean, Ganji was like walking across the map thinking, okay, it's a nice sunny day out, and all of a sudden he just got completely wrecked. And I'm thinking here, like, these Reapers aren't going to be able to, oh my God, they killed everything. So it was a bit out of control.
Yeah, I do want to say Illusion is one of the players to look out for. I know he didn't advance like our 2 players right now, but definitely a top-notch player. Right now, I mean, we're going to see, can TaeJa continue to show that crazy control, the crazy early upgrades here? And I really want to compare it to Bomber, who we've seen multiple times do 3 base plays. And, you know, Sean talks about that a lot, how he likes to do it. But we have seen that as a continuation here in these tournaments. So in this TVT, is he going to try and play that out? So far, it looks like maybe, as both players gearing up to expand.
Yeah, this is actually really interesting, because we see that Bomber actually did throw down his CC in his base, but he also got that gas up as quickly as he could and dropped his factory almost immediately. We're just now seeing the factory begin for TaeJa. It's only about 30% done, but I'm wondering if, you know, if we're going to see, there we see the Tech Lab and the Starport going down, so some very fast Banshee's going to be coming out here for for Bomber. And over on the other side, I mean, I think we're going to have the same thing. It's just going to be a bit delayed here for TaeJa.
Yeah, TaeJa opting to get the command center much earlier. The orbital command as well is going to be timed much earlier, so he'll have a little bit of an economic edge. But you know what? StarCraft is a pretty balanced game, DJ Wheat. So what this means is if you're getting your higher tech units sooner, you have to slow down the economy of your opponent, but you have more tools to be able to do that. So it does look like right now he is going to be working on getting out a siege tank right away. I'm curious to see exactly how he decides to play this one out. Siege tanks, of course, very useful, and indeed is going to be going for a Viking here, which usually Tech Labs, they swap them out and get the Banshee, but sometimes you will see an early Viking, and if your opponent goes for a Banshee, then all of a sudden you're feeling pretty good because Vikings are pretty good versus Banshees.
Yeah, and actually off the scan, it seems like he might think that, but he also saw that the Tech Lab was researching, and he canceled it.
He just canceled. Did he cancel the tank too? No, he does have the tank. It just finished. Cancels the Viking, shows it up, and now he's going immediately for Banshee with Cloak. And
yeah, that was actually, it was so insane because I thought TaeJa was going to be actually going Cloak, but he brings out the tank and then started his siege mode. The scan went down. He canceled siege mode. So I'm not sure here.
Yeah,
but
basically what we saw is one player scanned. TaeJa got scanned. He canceled his tech. Then he was like, okay, I got to see what's going on over there. They scan. So they actually have no idea what each other's doing, even though they may think that they do.
Right.
That is the beautiful thing about StarCraft is you can change it up, even if your opponent has just scouted you. And, I mean, Banshee with Cloak, if you do not prepare for this, you're going to be in a world of hurt. But look at this. He's actually making a Viking now.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a smart move if you're not going to go with that Banshee, just in case it happens. And he did see that the setup for potential Banshees was certainly there for Bomber, but the first Banshee is out. Cloak is going to be finishing up just as he reaches the edge of this army. And you know what? He does not want to lose this tank or either of these Marines right away, and there is the Viking. Cloak done yet? No, not yet. And, ooh, what a reaction there. Look at that Viking. Going to chase him all the way back to his base because Cloak is just not done yet.
And, you know, interestingly enough, we got to move that Banshee right there. You do not want to have to use that cloaking right away. Oh, he did have to use it there. The Viking is going to spot it. Now, this is a huge tell. This is not how Bomber wanted this tech switch to go, because now he can't harass the main base with his cloak. He can't surprise his opponent with the Banshee. And all of a sudden, TaeJa, he may have been susceptible to this. He also just canceled another add-on there. So a lot of tech switches here. The Banshee's here, but with 24 energy, what can she actually do?
Well, going to take out as many Marines as they possibly can, but there's the scan on top of it. One volley, a second volley, but there's not a second Viking out quite yet. Yeah. However, there is going to be another Banshee coming in, full energy and a lot of health. And he might be able to do some damage. He's going to stop these Marines yet again, stop these SCVs from building these 2 racks, which could be the biggest amount of damage that's actually being done here. There's the scan. Now we've got double Vikings, but he's able to get out of there in time. Or is he? Yes, down to 6 hit points. He might be able to do some damage here to these tanks. Where is another scan going to come out? 38 energy, 21 energy. This Too
close to the missile turret there, as it is able to see further than it can shoot. Always something to remember there. Now, he was able to do some damage with that second Banshee. The initial Banshee is still alive. Very low on the energy, though, because you do have to remember it costs an amount of energy to begin the cloak, and then it continues eating away at your energy. So even though she has 33 energy, the Banshee right here not going to be able to cloak for that long. So how did it look out as far as the units lost here? You can see it's not too bad either way. Both players are at basically 50 workers apiece, and I do love this from TaeJa, man. He's already getting a third base, is already ahead in the upgrades, and DJ, we talked about this a little bit before. Oh, kills it with only 3 Marines. Pretty ballsy move. They're able to pull it off. But we talked about this before, how TaeJa loves his upgrades. Even in this game, with all the tech switching, he's like, there's one thing I'm not going to change, and that is my upgrades. Yeah, I mean, he got those started really early, Husky. He wants to make sure that he's got that upper hand against his opponent. And, of course, you know, when you're not going to go Cloak Banshees, you'll have that extra gas to go ahead and fire those up. He's already done with +1. He's going to have +1 armor done very soon. In fact, he starts +2 weapons as well. And so that means that his opponent is going to be lagging behind by about 1 upgrade on both sides here. Meanwhile, the tank count is looking to be even
In fact, exactly even right now for both of these players. The Marines, though, 26 Marines here for Bomber versus the 10 that are out. And that is no doubt also a result of delaying those racks for so long with that Banshee.
Well, yeah, not only delaying the racks to produce them, but also the amount of money he's spending on these upgrades. I mean, just look at the upgrades. He has the vehicle weapons. He's got combat shields. His upgrades are going to be at 2-1. Now, that's the thing, is TaeJa, you're always like, oh, he doesn't have any units. He's got to be in some trouble. And then he just pulls it out of the bag and is like, no, actually, I'm going to win this battle, even though it looks like I should. The Banshee going straight for the mules here, which is not going to perfectly work out for him. They aren't the freshest of mules. The missile turret does indeed finish here. But Bomber continuing to harass here with this Banshee, but he's got to realize, you know, there's a third base established here. I've got to get my own on the way. He does have it built, but hasn't moved it out just yet.
Yep, there actually, just as you mentioned it, it lifts up and heads on over, but that's still some time where he's going to be down that base. And I just want to double check, is he still off of one? No, he has added the second engineering bay now. Bomber has, but he is not upgrading out of it quite yet. He's getting his armory up right now. Once that finishes, he can get a continuation. But look at this force that's moving out. There are so many Marines, and positioning is going to be huge, but I mean, he's got to be careful, although he does have the upgrade advantage. Wow, he's just going to stim.
He's going to go for it, runs right in there. Now, it does look like TaeJa has the better positioning, but his upgrade advantage didn't really start to kick in. But look at that, may be able to clean up the Marines, and there we go, loads them up inside. Take a look at the units lost here, virtually identical, but these tanks are kind of stuck behind enemy lines, unloading the Marines right there one at a time because he wants to engage. But look at this, TaeJa sweeping on in with the upgrade. I believe he has an advantage as well. Is going to take out these tanks, could stim and try and chase down these tanks as well. And again, DJ Wheat, he had less units, still able to win those battles.
Very nice. I mean, those Marines just jetting in from the back were very, very important. I thought for sure that Bomber was going to be dropping the Marines on top of the siege tanks, but he never really got it done. In fact, he dropped and just kind of sacrificed a few Marines out there. But the hero Marines that came in, Squadron 2, if you will, they definitely came to save the day. Now, I mean, think about it. If Bomber would have been up on his upgrades, he would have absolutely rolled through that. But right now, TaeJa already at 1-2. He started his +3 weapons already.
I don't know how he manages to do that. He can be behind in units, and right now he's actually way ahead in the Marine count. He is behind on the siege tank count, but this is what we saw TaeJa do so many times already in this tournament, is somehow squeeze in those upgrades. Even in a mirror matchup, he's able to pull ahead in that upgrade count. And, you know, a lot of people talk about the player Flash. His couple of games that they've seen in StarCraft 2 is that a lot of the players don't realize how important the upgrades are. TaeJa, though, he got the memo. He's got to continue with, does blast away a lot of those Marines. Units lost here. It's getting out of control for Bomber. And the expansion right there, the SCVs do manage to get saved. Maybe that's the same squadron who saved the day before. But right now, TaeJa has a bit of pressure established right now, which means he can actually take a fourth if he wants. He has the command center almost done.
Yeah, I mean, TaeJa with the great, I mean, he forced positioning. He forced his opponent, Bomber, to just get completely defensive at that point. I mean, not a whole lot of damage was done. He did kill a couple of Marines right there. A few SCVs may have gone down, but ultimately he pulled Bomber back to his base and established a position once again in the center of the map. Right now, looking at the unit tab, 32 Marines to 58 Marines now for TaeJa, and although he was trailing behind so early, Doom drop potential right here. No, he's just going to siege up, move forward, takes on the tanks.
The tanks are not siege, able to snipe 2 right there, and back on out at the cost of just a couple of Marines. And you mentioned a drop. Well, here we go. Can he pull it off? This is a big, big risk, but if he can get the positioning perfectly, he's got to be inside the main. He's got to be able to drop on top of these tanks. He realizes, no, it is not worth the risk. Bomber has too good a positioning. May just unload on the low ground. Needs to watch out for the tanks that are in range on the high ground, though. Does scan right there at the natural. But you do have to realize that TaeJa during this is pulling ahead in upgrades. Right now, though, it is tied 2-2 for these battles. The upgrades just finished now for Bomber, and needs to be so careful. Making me nervous here, as you know, the longer the Marines are in there, the higher chance they have of dying inside that medevac.
Oh, and he's going to be able to take out the starport before this next Banshee comes out. They're just going to drop the Marines on top of everything. He moves forward, kills the tanks. Now trying to work on the Marines inside, and the upgrade advantage definitely coming into play here. However, he does have to retreat back, is definitely depleted quite a few Marines. And I'll tell you what, now we're seeing Bomber and his third base really kick in. His +3 and +3 are on the way, but he has to build 2 more starports, which means that he is definitely going to be behind on the medevacs. In fact, I think he's only got, 3 to TaeJa's 6 right now.
Oh, he's going to go straight for the siege tank, like from the high ground as well. Those Marines are actually in range of the tanks on the low ground, but TaeJa, man, upgrades are pretty good. He has 2 upgrades on the tanks as opposed to the 1, and that's why I've been talking about DJ Wade. He can win those engagements, even though you think he can't. And wow, Bomber, GG's out of the game.
Yeah, TaeJa just focusing on those upgrades, had that one battle in the middle where it looked like Bomber might just say, hey, well, I've got more Marines. I don't care what your upgrades are. Move forward. And actually, I think the big mistake there was Bomber was fighting those Marines without any assistance from his siege tanks. If he would have just pulled back just a little bit, that would have been a lot of hits on those Marines.
I have no idea how TaeJa gets so many upgrades. I mean, he's in a mirror matchup. He has an upgrade advantage on the ground infantry, weapons and armor, and on the siege tanks as well. You might think, one player have an advantage here, one there. Nope, they're going very similar builds, very similar timings as well. The only difference was those early Banshees out of Bomber. But other than that, I mean, when they were expanding, it was at about the exact same time.
Right.
And so this game could still go either way, but I've been saying it for a long time. TaeJa's upgrades are just sick good, and Bomber is either going to have to try and keep up with the upgrades or try and punish his opponent, because you have to make 2 engineering bays plus the double upgrades. That's a big investment. Try and punish that window where he hasn't spent that money on his army.
Now Bomber thinking about what he's going to do here. He has chosen Entombed Valley as his pick. May actually bring more drop play potential in. And we don't have, obviously, TVT statistics because...
it's 100% win rate, man, there.
Exactly.